Like a month ago, Jonathan from Passion Built put up a video about OEM radiators versus Chinese radiators. And I happen to actually have needed to swap a radiator right now. And of course, thinking, like, how bad can it be? Let me take a swing at it. I bought the Chinese one. Yep, 75 bucks. No big deal. So, things that are different on the Chinese one. So for one, this mount for the little flap that kind of sits there and protects the front cylinder from catching water. See how it's like this tabby thing with like a bunch of meat? Yep, it's this. So I have the option of cut that one off, drill a hole in it, and screw it to this and then mount this up, or I can drill a hole in the rubber flap. I'm probably going to cut that off and drill a hole in it. Now, notice how this tab, this ear, is bent. That wasn't shipping, that wasn't packaging, that was actual production. Yeah. The other things that were incredibly annoying is notice how I had to thin this out. I also had to thin these mounts both in thickness so that the clip nut, I forget what the right term for it is, would fit. But also, if you notice how these have a cut into them for the clip nut, yeah, these don't. So I had to grind it that way, and then I had to grind it that way. And of course I had to do it all by hand because I can't get my bench grinder anywhere close to this thing because obviously, I don't want to cut into the radiator while I'm at it. So once that was done, I had to bend these tabs a little bit because the radiator is somehow thicker. Or what it's actually missing is these little cutouts in areas where the fan sits. So the radiator, like the fan legs weren't actually reaching the tabs. I had to kind of crunch it and bend it a little bit. And it's all flimsy as hell aluminum. So, yeah. I suspect if I had to pay a shop to do this, this would take much more money than just dropping in another factory one. And yes, I know you're gonna somebody with eagle eyes is gonna say, oh, but that's an O3 radiator and that's a O4 plus radiator. Well, yes, I swapped an O4 plus fan onto it as well. The other thing is I don't have any provisions for the horn, which is, whatever. That's not a big deal. I can make something up. But it would have been, what, 5 more cents to add one of these tabs? So, yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm going to put it together, and I really hope it doesn't leak. And then I find more interesting things. So, you know how we have these nice, shiny radiator side covers that go on there? Yes, over into these two holes. Well, the holes are there, but, so the bottom one is centered. The top one is boogered on and not centered. So I can't put that side cover on here without doing some other weird things. And yes, yo, look at these dimes. Look at these dimes that they laid. The utmost care was taken in not actually getting this done in any meaningful way. But wait, there's more. So this hole, this is where the bolt goes. There is, right now, absolutely nothing I can do to make that line up because that little tab for the fan, remember I said I had to bend up things to get it to accept the fan? The little tab for the fan is hitting the frame. Wonderful. So guess what? more cutting needed. So the problem turned out that the arms aren't actually long enough. So from the top of the radiator to the bolt, on this one, it's 2 3/4 American things of some kind. I don't know, whatever those numbers are. On this one, however, from the top of the radiator to the bolt is 2 1/4, whatever the hell that thing is. I don't know, king's pubes times 10 or whatever. Whatever this stupid measurement system is, I think the guys that made this used an even worse one. So before I started making a bunch of brackets to extend this damn thing and get it to fit somehow, I figured I'd actually check if it leaks or not. Well, so here's an interesting thing. Might be kind of hard to see. The neck has a ginormous barb for the hose. The factory neck is easily like half the size. So now I have to figure out how to stick small hose, big barb. I mean, yeah, I can heat it up and stretch it on and all that stuff, but like, why? You're already making a radiator, right? Like, why make the radiator wrong? Why not just make the radiator the same? It's basically the same amount of effort, right? Or, hey, we just had this one random barb, let's just throw it on there, screw the customer, who cares? Well, yeah. Alright. I'm gonna try that now. So in this thing's defense, I do have to say, it did not leak. Yes, it's really the only positive thing I have to say about it. Other than, yes, it is most definitely a radiator. And it did not leak. So, somebody there knows how to do work. Just not everybody. Because they obviously managed to make it so, it's watertight. But getting things like this, like, how do you screw this up? You do this for a living. Anyway, so I'm really glad I didn't do this video as a suffer with me as I try to make this happen, because it's much more fun as a rant. And also because this just isn't happening tonight. I gotta figure out something to do with bracketage. The problem is, like, if they were all bolts, it would be no big deal. But on the second gen, this side is a pin. So this, in order for it to be a decent mount, actually needs to be a fairly decent bracket. Like, I can't just kind of butt it up against it and bolt it in. Well, I mean, I guess I could cut it off and tap it. That might actually be the way to... Yeah, I'm not screwing up a frame just to do a stupid Chinese radiator. In any case, I hope this helps somebody decide whether taking a swing at a... Oh, hey, the holes on this side are vertical. Why couldn't you do that side right? Anyway, I hope this helps somebody who is considering a cheapy eBay radiator. But yeah, look at this. All the vanes are already kind of bent. And that's just from handling it. That's just from, like, having to hold it while grinding off tabs and shit. So, yeah, wonderful device. So here's how that's gonna work in case anybody's wondering. I cut the tabs off the busted ass radiator, so I know these mounts will be good. And then what I'm going to do is, because I don't have anything for welding aluminum, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up figuring out what all the alignment stuff is, like how to best mount this up or whatever, and I'm going to just drill a couple of holes and put bolts and nuts through it. this is bullshit. So, like I said, anybody who's paying a shop to do this, expect kind of a fat bill, because anytime a shop has to stop and do stupid shit like this, they're gonna charge you. Because if you think about it, like, this is realistically at most this is an hour job if you're blindedly drunk. But adding tabs, making shit, cutting shit, bending shit, that is not something shops like to do, and your bill increases pretty quickly.